8 years undercover inside Korea's most dangerous crime empire. One cop rises all the way to the top of a brutal syndicate where one mistake means a body in the ocean. But just when he thinks it's finally over, the boss dies, and a hidden war erupts to decide who controls the entire criminal underworld. Police are pulling the strings, gangsters are turning on each other, and the man in the middle is trapped playing both sides, without knowing who will kill him first. But the real twist? The moment he wins is the moment he loses everything. If you're into dark crime stories, betrayal, and insane plot twists like this, hit subscribe because you don't want to miss what's coming next. Gold Moon is the largest crime syndicate in South Korea, operating behind the mask of a powerful corporate empire. At its center is Chairman Seok, the man who united several violent gangs under one organization and turned them into a criminal powerhouse disguised as a legitimate business. After years of criminal investigations, Chairman Seok is arrested. The accuracy of the evidence against him makes him suspect there is a mole inside Gold Moon feeding information to the police. To flush out the mole, Ja-sung, one of the organization's most trusted executives, leads a brutal internal purge. A suspected informant is abducted and tortured for answers, but the man claims he's innocent. But Ja-sung pays no heed to his pleas. In the end, they force cement down his throat before sealing him inside a barrel and dumping him into the ocean. Unknown to everyone, Ja-sung, the man leading the operation, is actually an undercover police officer who has spent the last 8 years inside the syndicate, somehow keeping his identity hidden while rising through the ranks to become the third in command of Gold Moon's North Moon faction, with Chairman Seok finally behind bars. Ja-sung believes the evidence he helped gather is enough to end his mission for good. Unfortunately, Chairman Seok uses his influence to have all charges dismissed due to insufficient evidence. The chairman walks free, rendering Ja-sung's 8 years undercover almost meaningless. But not long after his release, fate intervenes. As Chairman Seok's convoy passes through an intersection, a truck suddenly slams into his vehicle at full speed. He is rushed to the hospital, and news of the accident spreads quickly across the organization. Gold Moon's top executives soon gather at the hospital, including Jong-gu, one of the syndicate's most influential leaders and first in command of Gold Moon's Jaebum faction. Later, Ja-sung heads to the airport to receive his superior, Jung-chung, who has just returned from Shanghai. Unlike the cold and aggressive Jong-gu, Jung-chung carries himself with chaotic energy and unpredictable humor. Though erratic, he respects and treats Ja-sung like a younger brother, and the two clearly share a long history together. On the drive back, Chung gives Ja-sung a watch to celebrate his wife's pregnancy. But when Ja-sung realizes the item is fake, he mocks him for it. Embarrassed, Chung immediately takes out his frustration on the subordinate, who convinced him that the watch could pass as luxury, and no one would notice the difference. Back at the hospital, the tension grows heavier as Gold Moon's senior members wait outside the operating room. Eventually, the doctors emerge with devastating news. Chairman Seok didn't make it. The announcement throws the organization into confusion. The following day, Gold Moon holds an elaborate funeral for Chairman Seok. Police officers attend the ceremony under the guise of surveillance, immediately provoking Jong-gu. He storms toward them and smashes one of their cameras before Chief Kang, the officer leading the Gold Moon investigation, steps in to calm the situation. The two exchange subtle jabs and banter before Jong-gu eventually eases off, knowing better than to get physical with the police. Back at police headquarters, Chief Kang and a few other senior officials discuss the growing succession battle threatening to consume the organization. Gold Moon is built from 3 major factions, meaning 3 men are likely to compete for control. The first is Jung-chung, leader of the North Moon faction, a man with strong ties to Chinese triads and overseas operations. The second is Jong-gu, backed by the powerful Jaebum faction and once considered Chairman Seok's closest ally. The final candidate is Suki, Gold Moon's vice chairman and leader of the Gel faction. But unlike the other two, Suki lacks both influence and manpower, making him the weakest contender. Believing internal war could become their best opportunity to dismantle Gold Moon, the police begin planning to manipulate the succession from within, naming it the New World Project. Later, Ja-sung meets Chief Kang at their secret meeting point. With Chairman Seok dead, Ja-sung believes his mission is finally over. Chief Kang had promised to transfer him to an overseas police position once the mission was complete. Instead, Kang reveals their new plan and informs Ja-sung that his undercover mission is far from over. Furious, Ja-sung lashes out at Chief Kang for breaking their agreement. Ja-sung threatens to quit the police force altogether. Chief Kang coldly warns that he will expose his true identity to Goldmoon, which would guarantee a brutal death. The threat leaves Ja-sung furious, trapped, and completely powerless. Chief Kang offers Ja-sung a package, congratulating him on his wife's pregnancy. This unsettles him immediately. He never told the police about the pregnancy, meaning they have been monitoring his private life without his knowledge. Ja-sung demands to know how Kang found out, but Chief Kang remains silent. Even after 8 years undercover, the police still do not trust him and have been watching his every move. Trapped between a violent crime syndicate and the authorities manipulating his life behind the scenes, Ja-sung realizes he no longer has a choice. 2 days later, Goldmoon holds a meeting. The board members agree to hold an official election the following week to decide Goldmoon's next chairman. As expected, the organization quickly divides into 2 major camps, one backing Jung-chung and the other supporting Jong-gu. After the meeting, Ja-sung walks with Chung toward the parking lot. Chung mentions that he will soon return to Shanghai to finish some business and asks Ja-sung to watch over his operations while he is away, making sure Jong-gu does not make any moves behind his back. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when a car speeds toward them and nearly runs them over. It turns out to be Jong-gu. Ja-sung immediately lashes out at him, but Jong-gu casually blames his driver and tells him to apologize instead. After throwing a few smug remarks their way, he laughs and drives off, leaving behind a silent warning. Later, Chung, Ja-sung, and their men go out for lunch. While eating, Chung raises a toast, joking that he hopes the baby takes after Ja-sung's wife instead of the ugly Ja-sung, drawing laughter from everyone at the table. Later, Ja-sung meets with Chief Kang and informs him about Chung's planned trip to Shanghai the following afternoon. Frustrated and mentally exhausted, Ja-sung demands to know more about the mission he is risking his life for. Chief Kang refuses to let him in, hiding behind police protocol and insisting he simply follow orders. After spending 8 years undercover, Ja-sung feels the criminals around him trust him more than the police ever have. Meanwhile, Jong-gu begins pressuring Goldmoon's senior figures into supporting his campaign for chairman. He summons several leaders to his office and openly intimidates them into choosing his side. The next day, Ja-sung escorts Chung to the airport. The moment they arrive, Ja-sung notices undercover police officers scattered throughout the terminal watching their every movement. Just after Chung passes through security, officers intercept him and escort him away for questioning. He is taken to a nearby interrogation room where Chief Kang personally greets him. Chief Kang presents the Goldmoon investigation file. As Chung flips through the documents, he quickly realizes the information could only have come from someone deep inside the organization. Chief Kang then makes his real intentions clear. He convinces Chung to leak evidence against Jong-gu in exchange for immunity and a clear path to the chairmanship. Chung says nothing but quietly stares at him, amused. Before leaving, Chief Kang tells him to think about the offer during his flight. As Chung boards the plane, he can't shake the thought of how quickly the police knew his travel plans. Convinced there are moles inside Goldmoon, Chung takes a drastic step. He orders his lawyer to investigate Chief Kang while hiring a top Chinese hacker group to breach the police intelligence database. He also instructs him to bring in the Yanbian Hobos, a notorious and ruthless assassin group. The next day, while Jong-gu eats breakfast with his men, Chief Kang and his team storm the restaurant and arrest him. Chung returns to Korea earlier than scheduled to take care of business. The moment he lands, he heads straight to meet Jong-gu in his cell. The encounter turns tense almost instantly. Jong-gu openly threatens him, convinced he worked with the police behind his back. Chung denies everything, insisting he had nothing to do with the arrest. Chung secretly meets Chief Kang inside an empty stadium. Pretending to offer goodwill, he hands him a box of expensive mooncakes. But inside the pastries are stacks of cash. Chief Kang immediately realizes it is a bribe meant to keep the police off Goldmoon's trail. Without hesitation, he flings the box away. Elsewhere, Ja-sung takes his wife to the hospital for a pregnancy checkup. During a stop on their way home, Ja-sung's wife quietly steps aside to answer a private phone call. The caller is Chief Kang. Unknown to Ja-sung, his own wife is also working undercover and has been secretly feeding information about him to the police. However, the mission is beginning to weigh heavily on her. She admits she is exhausted from constantly living under surveillance and maintaining a double life, making it clear she no longer feels loyal to the operation. In response, Chief Kang pressures her into obedience with thinly veiled threats. The results of Chung's investigation finally arrive. The hackers he hired managed to breach the confidential police intelligence files, exposing every undercover operative inside Goldmoon. At the same time, the Yeonbyeon hobos arrive in Korea. Chung calls Ja-sung, cheerful as always, and asks him to come to the warehouse. He has a surprise waiting. Ja-sung immediately grows uneasy, sensing something is wrong. But he won't find a good enough reason to dodge Chung's invitation. Meanwhile, the Yeonbyeon assassins track down Ja-sung's handler. After spotting the men through her CCTV feed, she quickly calls Chief Kang to update him before wiping any evidence tied to the operation. Armed with a handgun, she waits inside the apartment and opens fire the moment the assassins enter. Despite putting up a fight, the Yeonbyeon killers eventually overpower her and take her alive. Not long after, Ja-sung arrives at the warehouse with his trusted subordinate, Seok. Chung greets them casually and points toward a large barrel. Smiling, he tells Ja-sung to open it. Ja-sung slowly approaches the barrel and lifts the lid. Inside, he finds his handler. She is bloodied, barely conscious, and stripped down after being brutally tortured. Chung explains that the woman Ja-sung regularly meets for chess is actually a police spy. He then asks Ja-sung if he knew about it, but Ja-sung denies it. As Ja-sung struggles to hide his panic, Chung hands him the leaked intelligence file. Ja-sung's heart races, and his hands begin to fidget as he holds the document. Chung then tells him to turn to the last page, and he'll be surprised by what he finds there. Before Ja-sung can reach the page, Chung grabs a shovel and smashes Seok across the head. To Ja-sung's horror, the final page reveals that Seok, the subordinate who had loyally served beside him for years, was also an undercover cop. Ja-sung waits for his turn in a panic. It never comes, which confuses him. Chung has details on every undercover operative in Goldmoon, but shows no sign of knowing he is a mole. Moments later, Chung casually orders the Yeonbyeon assassins to have fun with the captured handler and dispose of her. Realizing what is about to happen, Ja-sung quickly pulls out his gun and shoots her himself. Later, they seal the bodies inside barrels and dump them into the ocean. Back at the station, Chief Kang visits Jong-gu in his cell to continue his mind game. Kang shows him photographs secretly taken of Chung meeting with the police, convincing Jong-gu that Chung betrayed him. Consumed by rage, Jong-gu orders retaliation. The next day, Ja-sung confronts Chief Kang over the disaster unfolding around them. Kang admits that their intelligence system was hacked, and every undercover identity has been exposed. Terrified and exhausted, Ja-sung begs to finally leave the operation. Chief Kang refuses. Instead, he introduces Ja-sung to Suki. Unknown to Ja-sung, the police have already struck a deal with Suki, the weakest faction leader. Their new plan is to help Suki become chairman, believing his weak influence will make Goldmoon easier to control and defeat. Chief Kang tells Ja-sung that he has no choice. If he refuses to continue cooperating, the police will expose his true identity. Ja-sung walks away without another word. Meanwhile, Jong-gu's men launch a violent ambush against Chung. Despite being heavily outnumbered, Chung tears through his attackers with terrifying aggression. The fight eventually traps him inside an elevator surrounded by armed men. What follows becomes a massacre. Chung manages to kill every attacker inside the cramped elevator, but by the end of the fight, he is left mortally wounded. Police eventually arrive and rush him and others to the hospital. At the same time, Jong-gu's men also attempt to assassinate Ja-sung's wife. only to find police officers already protecting her. But the shock triggers a miscarriage. Later at the hospital, the doctor explains that the extreme stress his wife experienced contributed to the loss of the baby. Ja-sung learns about the attack on Chung and heads to the hospital, only to find him in terrible condition. Barely alive, Chung asks to speak with him privately. Lying there, Chung remains playful, telling Ja-sung to lighten up as he fights back tears. Then, quietly, he tells Ja-sung to decide where his loyalty stands. Ja-sung understands. Chung knows he's an undercover cop, and chose to say nothing and spare his life because of their friendship. Just before he dies, Chung tells him he left a package in the office safe. Ja-sung is devastated. Soon after, Gold Moon holds Chung's funeral. Ja-sung spots the Yanbian assassins among the crowd and passes a message to them through a subtle glance. Later, Ja-sung enters Chung's office and opens the safe. Inside, he finds his police file alongside the watch. This time, the watch is real, not another imitation. On the day of the chairmanship election, Suki invites Ja-sung to ride with him to the meeting. But instead of heading toward the Gold Moon headquarters, the convoy diverts to a remote area where Suki's men wait with weapons. Suki has decided to betray the police and eliminate Ja-sung, the last obstacle between him and the chairmanship. Unknown to him, Ja-sung has already secured the loyalty of his men. The men turn on Suki instead and beat him to death. With Chung gone and Jong-gu incarcerated, Ja-sung has become the most powerful figure inside Gold Moon. Having finally chosen where his loyalty lies, he begins consolidating power. At the board meeting, Ja-sung becomes the new chairman of the Gold Moon Group unopposed. While he presides, his foot soldiers and the Yanbian assassins carry out his vengeance. Meanwhile, Jong-gu is released from prison due to insufficient evidence. The moment he returns to his office, Ja-sung's men are already waiting for him. Without hesitation, they throw Jong-gu from the top of the building. At the same time, the Yanbian assassins eliminate the remaining leaders tied to Suki. They also take out the high-ranking police officials involved in the undercover operation, including Chief Kang, who never saw the twist coming. Ja-sung successfully eliminates everyone who knows he was ever a cop. The system he served treated him worse than a criminal. The criminals gave him what the so-called justice system never did: loyalty, trust, and respect. Ja-sung officially becomes the organization's new chairman, choosing to live not as an undercover agent, but as the ruler of the criminal empire he once set out to destroy. And just like that, the man who once lived between two worlds chooses one and buries the other forever. If you enjoyed this full breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more dark crime movie recaps like this one.